Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
At the age of 16, I developed rheumatic fever and spent the whole summer in bed. There was no internet or video games or Netflix back then. All I had was a television. That summer of 1960, all they had on television was the Republican and Democratic presidential conventions, which nominated John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. By that summer's end, I was hooked on politics and have been following it ever since. Lyndon Johnson and Vietnam, Nixon and Watergate, Jimmy Carter, don't remind me. Ronald Reagan with the City on the Hill, Papa Bush and Baby Bush, Clinton and Monica, and 8 up and down years with Barack Obama. But nothing prepared me or most any of us for what we have experienced these past 4 years with Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, these 4 years have been quite a ride, a roller coaster ride. Hardly a day went by when there wasn't something involving him. From tariffs to travel bans, from Mueller to migrants, from kneeling to North Korea, from Supreme Court to Stormy Davis, Dow Jones and debates, inauguration and impeachment, economy and Ivanka, lock her up and Lewandowski, COVID and Kung Flu, fake news and Michael Flynn, Greenland and Kurds, Jerusalem and Jared Kushner, Iran nuclear accord and Abraham peace accords, guns to Golan, pardon and Putin, wall and Wall Street, shutdown in Charlottesville, Twitter and terror, fracking and fossil fuel, Fauci and Scaramucci, stock market and Stone, DMZ and BLM, racism and recount, cheating and China, deep state and homeland security, Spicer and stimulus, Justice Department and Alex Jones, Melania and McConnell, McCain and Mar-a-Lago, Michael Cohen, Tucker Carlson, Hillary and Hannity, masks in Mexico, AOC and ACA, Rudy and recount, Iraq and Iran, Kim Jong-un and Feng Shui-un. These are just some of the things that we've been through in these past 4 years. As Bret Stephens put it, Trump consumed all of our mental bandwidth so that it became all but impossible to think about anyone or anything else. With this week's inauguration of Joe Biden as president, that has come to an end. It has to. At his age, Biden could never live through such an exhaustive pace. It's a miracle that we did. So whether you support the new administration or oppose it, let's take some time to just sit back and relax a bit. After these past 4 years, supporters and opponents alike are entitled to live by the words that made McDonald's famous. You deserve a break today. You know, taking a break is very much a part of the Jewish tradition. What is the Shemitah, the sabbatical year, if nothing else but a break? The Torah tells us that every 7 years we are to leave the land untouched and unplanted. When the law was given, it most probably made no sense to people. But since then, we've learned that's in the best interests of the land and the climate to give the earth a rest to allow for crop rotation and regeneration. We've also learned that what's good for the earth is good for people as well. A sabbatical is an extended break from your job. Why? Because a sabbatical gives scholars and academics and others an opportunity to recharge their batteries, to learn new things, to look at where they are in life. When you come to think of it, we Jews take a sabbatical every week. For what else is Shabbos but a time to pause sit back, relax, refresh, and rejuvenate. I want you to know that during my months of staying at home during the coronavirus, I've given a lot of thought to Shabbos. When everyone has lost track of what day of the week it is, I have found myself looking forward to Shabbos in a way I never realized before. And I ask myself, why is this? Why during the week am I so looking forward to Shabbos? After all, my Saturdays are not much different than every other day of the week. I don't go anywhere. I eat, I nap, I eat and read. No different than the other 6 days of the week. Except for one thing. I can't use my smartphone and computer. And that makes all the difference in the world. It's so different than any other day of the week. Long before the coronavirus hit, many social scientists, psychologists, and others pointed out that we've become too dependent on the newest tech in technology. There was a survey taken of British adults which discovered that the typical person between the ages of 18 to 81 will spend a staggering 4,866 hours each year looking at phones, computers, or televisions. That ends up being 34 years of your life. And that's before the coronavirus hit, which expanded our screen time from Netflix to Zoom and all points in between. Sherry Turkle, who studies how technology is affecting our modern relationships at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, has a TED Talk that's been viewed by over 6 million people entitled Connected but Alone, in which he points out how our screen time denies us the opportunity to think for ourselves, to be with others, to properly concentrate and focus, and to look one another in the eye. She recommends that we set aside time to be free of technology and to switch off our phones and computers. Without the digital noise, our attention, she says, can be devoted to the place and moment we're in and the people we're with. That's what Shabbos is. You may not be what's called a Shomer Shabbat person, a person who observes all of the Sabbath commandments. But if you digitally disconnect on Shabbos, then you can be technically Shomer Shabbat. Like Shemitah, at first people did not understand what Shabbos meant. The early Romans and Greeks considered Jews lazy because we always took a day off. But as Thomas Cahill points out in The Gifts of the Jews, the Sabbath is one of our greatest gifts of all. Our Torah portion this Shabbos tells of the first mitzvah that was given to the collective Jewish people. HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. This month of Nisan, which is about to begin in the lunar calendar, is to be Lochem, for you. What does it mean it's to be for you? Our sages say, yes, it means the moon is the way you are to count your days. But they also point out lochem means lachem hum asur ve'ein atam asur beyado. Time is being given to you. You are not to be given over to time. For 210 years, the Jews had no control over their time. But now the Jews are free, and God warns them, remember, you control your time. You need to set aside time so that you can be free to be you and me. In this crazy, mixed-up world in which we live, we all deserve a break. And let's enjoy the calm Shabbat brings us as a Jew. Living through COVID-19, we all deserve a break today. Shabbat Shalom. That's what it is. May it be a peaceful Shabbos for all of us.